Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 15th episode of Season 4 of The Walking Dead, Us. So yeah, as usual, spoiler warning for those who haven't watched the episode yet, for whatever reason, and yeah, because this episode is packed, like most of the episodes in Season 4 lately, pretty packed with content and whatnot. So yeah, 10 seconds as usual for those who haven't watched the episode, for spoilers, just in case. So, yeah, spoiler warning, 10 seconds starting now. So, yeah, that's it. First of all, I also kind of want to apologize for any noise that you guys may be hearing. Some of you may have heard extra noise during the pause. That's on our TV somewhere in the house. Really can't get to lower the volume, so whatever. I really can't turn it off because people are watching. So yeah, sorry about that. First off, and also for those who haven't left the video yet and haven't watched the episode yet, don't complain down in the comments below, or send me a message. So I didn't warn you because I did, as usual. 10 seconds. So yes, as usual, quick summary, quick synopsis, whatever, likes and dislikes, and then the rate. So yeah, basically us, um, basically you have, um, Abraham, Glenn, Tara, Rosita, and Eugene's group. You have Rick, Carl, and Michonne, and you have Daryl and his group, and then you also have Bob, Maggie, and Sasha. So you have all those groups in this one episode. So yeah, for I'm basically gonna go off basically say a little bit of each group. So yeah, so for Rick's group, since they had the least screen time in this episode, right after, whatever. You have Rick, Carl, and Michonne. They're basically following the train tracks, and Carl and Michonne are basically betting, for supplies and whatnot. They're basically fooling around, going to Terminus, and that's basically it for them. You don't really get 2 minutes of screen time for them. Um, as for Abraham, Glenn, Tara, Rosita, Eugene, that whole group, you have them also going to Terminus, and they eventually reach this one tunnel. And you have Glenn and Tara. They're basically splitting off because Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita they go off one way, around the tunnel, while Glenn and Tara go through the tunnel. Basically, because they're basically going to Terminus. And also, they found this one sign, and in the tunnel, they found this one message from Maggie that says, Glenn go to Terminus, indicating that she's still alive up to that point, which is obvious. So basically, Glenn, wanting to find Maggie, he goes through the tunnel, and there's basically a bunch of zombies there, zombie infested tunnel, and yeah, um, you have Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita, sorry, who split off, and they're basically going around the tunnel, seeing if they can find them on the other side, and instead of that, they find Maggie, Bob, and Sasha, and yeah, you eventually have Maggie and Glenn reuniting after you know, after Abraham, Eugene, Rosita, Maggie, Bob, Sasha, basically rescue them from a bunch of zombies that were about to eat them, eat Glenn and Tara. Tara had her foot trapped under some rubble from part of the tunnel that happened to collapse, caused by Maggie at some point that was not seen in the episode or previously at any time. You eventually have them reuniting, and then eventually they reach Terminus, which is pretty cool. And you basically have this lady named Mary. She seems to be doing laundry and cooking some meat. Kind of suspicious. Maybe doing a topic video later on this week. You see her cooking some meat. She basically says, you guys look like you guys look like you've been out in the road for some time. How's about we give you some food? Have you settled? And then welcome to Terminus. Yeah, and as for Daryl's group, we basically have Daryl and the Hunters, well, Marauders, better said. The Hunters haven't been properly introduced yet. You have the Marauders, um, and they're out in the woods, basically have Daryl and this one of the Marauders called Len. They're basically fighting over supplies for majority of this episode. Most notably a rabbit or half rabbit, however you want to see it. Look at it. The leader of the group, Joe, he says, considering he didn't know the rules at the time, he won't be punished. But next time he will be punished. Basically, he has a set of rules for his group, so so that nothing goes ape shit. Basically, if you lie, steal, you'll be punished. If and anything you want, you better claim it. All you have to do is say claim. Which is a pretty good set of rules in my opinion. Eventually, Len tries to frame Daryl for having supposedly taken half of his rabbit. Joe, cut up the rabbit, so they could both be somewhat happy. Daryl and Len. Len basically tries to frame him. Fails. Joe sees right through him. Well, Anton plant the rabbit on Daryl and his supplies, and has him killed, beaten to death, stabbed. He has an arrow through the eye. Once you see him dead, and yeah, basically Daryl figures out, this is how I'm supposed to act in this group. Now I understand this group. Blah blah blah, and that's it. And that's really it for the whole synopsis of this episode. Quick run through. Yeah. Now, I think some of the major things that happened in this episode were most notably with Abraham's group, and Maggie's group, Maggie, Eugene, Rosita, Tara, Bob, Sasha, Abraham, Glenn. You have Glenn and Maggie reuniting, which is, one of those sweet moments, which is something we really don't get much in this series at all, close to none, maybe once, two things per season, not really much, so that's good to see. Also, you finally have the introduction of Terminus. You don't get Gareth yet, which I assume he should be appearing in the next episode. Logically, he's supposed to appear in season 4, and we only have one episode left. So logically, he should appear in the next episode. A is the title of the next episode, the season final A. Whatever. So yeah, you really don't see Gareth, but you do see Mary, which I am assuming is one of his accomplices, or colleagues or team members or whatever the case is. Yeah. So you have Terminus, which is pretty cool. Terminus. I don't know what to. That's another discussion topic. I have a few discussion topics for later this week. Terminus and just Terminus overall. Yeah. That's really one major things. I may have a few other ones, but Terminus is the one I really want to do. Yeah. Let's see. That's for Maggie's group. That's good. I am a bit disappointed. Brain fart. Wait. Trying to figure out the words. Okay. Finally figured them out. Sorry. I am a bit disappointed about Rick's group in this episode. You don't get as much screen time as they should have, in my opinion, which is a bit of disappointment. So, yeah, I guess. You only get 2 minutes with them, so that's really disappointing in my opinion. What the hell is with my brain farts right now? Whatever, sorry. As for Joe's group, finally get to see a bit more of Joe, which is cool. Joe is actually a pretty cool guy in my opinion. After having seen this episode, you see his set of rules. I honestly think that there are rules that someone in his group should go by, and Len having disrespected those rules, he kind of did have a right to kill him, in my opinion. And he does have some pretty cool insight. He does seem to be the oldest of the group. Or at least one of the oldest, I think, besides, what's this guy's name? Dan, I believe. There's one more. Dan. There's one group member called Dan in his group. I'm looking at the wiki. He does seem maybe older than him or just as old. as Joe. So but besides the point. So yeah, Joe seems to have a lot of insight, and he kind of gets this world, if you may. He understands this world. He knows how you should survive. And he's kind of he's trying to keep as much humanity in this fucked up group that he has as he can, which in my opinion, that's pretty cool of him. So yeah, now I do still think there is something fishy about him, you know something that is still bad about him, that don't completely trust him, but this does make me want to like him a bit more and his group a bit more. So yeah, I mean, Len does die for disrespecting the rules. I mean, don't mess with Daryl. Trust me, he one way or another he will kill you. So yeah, writing was good for the most part. The acting was good also for the most part. Yeah, not many zombies. Well, shouldn't say that. There were a few zombies. There's actually this one zombie that looked pretty cool in the tunnel. It's like all shut up, and it has like 3 or 4 holes right through its chest, and we have the light going through it, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So zombies were a bit cooler in this episode, I would have to say. So yeah, that's it really for my likes and dislikes, in my opinion. I mean, pretty interesting character development, especially through for Joe and his group. Seeing the roads and whatnot. Having Maggie and Glenn reunited. Then finally the introduction of Terminus. But I am a bit disappointed about Rick's group not having as much screen time, which is really the one downside I have for this episode. Because I really actually do like this episode. I think it's one of the strongest episodes of season 4. Not gonna say the whole series, but if I were to make a top 10 list, it'd be either bottom 5 or an honorable mention in my opinion. And yeah, as for the rate on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6 being decent, I'd give this a 9. A solid 9 in my a solid 9 in my opinion. It's just in my opinion that it's just that good. Again, the only bad thing only complaint I have is Rick's group not getting as much screen time as they should have, in my opinion. But hopefully they'll get more screen time in the next episode, the season final. Which, looking from the teasers, it does seem like they will get more screen time. Yeah, that's basically it for this review. Remember to subscribe. I also do other Walking Dead discussion topics as I mentioned earlier. I also review the series. I also do review some of the other episodes of not season 4, The Walking Dead. I kind of have to catch up. I'm kind of stuck on season 2. I have to do all of season 3 and all of season 4 up to Too Far Gone. So yeah, I have done other Walking Dead reviews on some of the episodes. Let's review some of the comic issues, so definitely stay tuned for that. Besides that, I also review movies, other comic issues, and other TV shows. So also stay tuned for that. And yeah, comment below on your thoughts on this episode. Do you think it should be more than 9, less than 9, or do you think I'm right about giving it a 9? And what are your thoughts on Terminus and Joe's group? Yeah, comment down below on that. And yeah, that's basically it. Remember to subscribe, comment below, share on Facebook, Twitter, or MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.